How's it going, everyone? This is a follow-up to my video yesterday, my mail and hobby talk video, where I was actually going over this thread that we're taking a look at right now, which was as of last night or sometime yesterday, moved to off topic. Now, this was put in the basketball forum, so I get it. This is over on Blowout Cards. They did move the thread to off topic, and I get that. It was going a little bit off topic. I put it in the basketball forum simply because a lot of the things that are being talked about here were somewhat related to like high-end basketball card sales. At least I felt. So it was moved there. Get it. No problem. It already been up in the basketball forums for a couple of days. Got a lot of good responses. They moved off topic. Well, as of last night or sometime this morning, it was locked. So this thread is now locked. Don't know what happened here, but my guess is it's probably related to another thread that was created on the situation with Ken Golden and Sports Card Radio, where he had threatened to sue them if they continued to talk about him. Now, I don't know particularly what in that thread prompted that, but that's my best guess. I have no proof on any of this either. We have an assumption that a lot of times when this document here, this is the Mastro Shilling document. Now, this is a little bit before my time, so I'm going to leave a link to this, but essentially what this document goes over is shill bid activity with Mastro auctions back, I think, in the early 2010s, maybe even prior to that. And again, this is like before my time really being involved in the hobby, so I really don't know much about it, but it has Ken's name kind of all over this document. Not accusing him of actually being a shill bidder, but some of his auctions were shilled. He may have been related to some of the people in here. Not sure, but yeah, you can see it kind of has a bunch of co-signers, the person that they were believing was a shill bidder, and then the winner of auctions, and the prices potentially lost here. So every time this thing seems to get posted, at least I confirmed from the poster who sent me this document, because I couldn't find it in the thread again. It had been removed. Seems to be that it's removed. Now, that's related or not, I have no idea. It could have been something else in that thread that got it removed. But yeah, my thread definitely got moved off topic. It got locked, and then it actually had the last 2 pages deleted. I don't know if there's something in those last 2 pages that were suspect, maybe Ken, who knows, maybe Geoff. We're going to look here in a minute. Had gotten this one shut down. Now it does mention golden auctions in here. And again, I want to clarify this, right? Watch my video yesterday if you can, but this is all public information. I'm not alleging that there's anything wrong with these loans, right? This whole thread was created basically to get a discussion going on this situation. Now, I'm just going to scroll through this thread, but we're going to talk about it as I go. If you didn't watch my video yesterday, basically the PPP loans that were taken out, I feel that they were justified taking these out at the beginning of the pandemic. These were supposed to be payment protection. You had a lot of confusion at the beginning of the pandemic. People didn't know that they could make payroll, didn't maybe feel that they could make payroll with everything being shut down. Totally makes sense. So I believe that a lot of this stuff is justified, guys. That's why I wanted to bring it here to like a public forum where we could get some more people commenting on this stuff, because I feel that it was important to discuss it instead of just to look at like memes on Instagram or, short little couple sentence post where people are making allegations that people use this PPP money for something else that they shouldn't have. Do I feel that that's what happened? No, not at all. Again, this is a good place to discuss it, right? I felt like kind of a hot topic, right? I didn't want to come into this thread either, and you can kind of read the first bit of it, and I'm going to link to this thread in the description here so you can take a look. I don't know if it's going to be deleted like the other one was or what, but anyway, I felt it was just good to discuss this, right? I think that any of these companies that took out loans in the beginning, totally justified. They didn't know what was going to happen. The unfortunate reality is that most of these were forgiven, meaning they don't have to pay them back. Maybe it's difficult to pay them back. Maybe there's not an avenue to pay them back. I've actually heard things like that. Now, my whole concern here was that they took out these loans, and then essentially what happened was they got forgiven, and then the sports card industry as a whole, or at least a lot of businesses within the sports card industry, went along to make record profits in 2020, 2021, even into this year as well, So was it justified to keep that money, and basically not have to pay it back? Was that justified? Is there even an avenue to pay it back? I don't really know. Those are questions that I was hoping that we could get answered in this thread. Fortunately, it's not possible anymore. Disappointing to me. So anyway, that's the situation here. I am just going to link to this. Now, the other big thing that was brought up in this thread in particular was Geoff Wilson and his money that he took out for his other company. What was it? 532 or 352 or something like that, right? Essentially, he had taken out an initial like 1 million, 1.2 million, something like that during the beginning of the pandemic. I think that's totally justified, guys. I really do. I think that he probably didn't know what was going to happen during the pandemic with his company. His company is like an online digital marketing company, right? So, yeah, you want to protect your company. Get it. Totally get it, And what was brought up in this thread, and a lot of people are discussing right now, is that he took out a second loan in 2021. Now, maybe totally justified. Again, no accusations being made from my end. And I don't think many of the people that are talking about this are making accusations that he sat here and took that money and spent it on cards. I highly, highly doubt it. But the interesting thing is that he actually spent a large amount of money in 2020 and 2021 on cards. Now, this is his personal purchases. I don't know if this is what triggered this thread to get taken down, or it was maybe something, I'm sorry, this thread was not taken down, but at least locked. Maybe it was something to do with golden auctions. Maybe it was just going off the rails. It's just, I don't know. It's disappointing that we can't continue to talk about this. But anyways, getting back to the Geoff situation, I'm going to show you here. We'll just scroll through the rest of this just so I have it in case this gets taken down. There's another thread specifically on Geoff Wilson, which I posted a ton in. We were calculating a lot of his big purchases and how there are losses. And at the same time, he was making videos telling everybody to invest in cards that he himself was buying that were dropping within a month or two. That's this thread. Now, I don't know. I will link to this one as well. Hopefully it doesn't get locked. I think there'd be some question if this one in particular got locked. I kind of feel like it was, again, this is just me speculating, that the other thread, my thread, was locked, and then the one calling out Ken Golden, Sports Card Radio, was locked because of Ken Golden. He does advertise with Blowout. If you look back a little bit in this video, actually we can go to the top of here. Here's a golden ad. So yeah, he could have definitely gotten these ones locked, shut down, whatever. But here's the post that I made yesterday, and someone just saved it here just in case, right? But this one leads to this document that somebody made about Geoff Wilson. Again, guys, not saying anything here other than this is just facts, okay? This is all it is. He took out these small business loans for his company, not related to Sports Card Investor at all. No one's saying that it was. It's just interesting. This is all it is. It's just interesting information that during the time that he was taking out these two loans, not just one, but two, he was also spending this amount on cards, okay? So I'll link to this document as well. Again, here's the thing about it. This timeline may not make any kind of difference. It's something that he was doing on his own. He was making card purchases on his own, totally unrelated to the other company. It's just an interesting document to look at to see what he was paying for cards during a time that he needed $2 million to get his other company back on its feet, supposedly, pay employees or whatever other costs that they have, and also spending this amount on cards during that same time period. So if we come here to the bottom, we see that Geoff publicly spent, a little over 1.9 million on the 28 items listed on the sheet. Probably bought more during that time as well. But again, this is during a time period that he was also needing that $2 million in government assistance for his other business. I get it. The two are separate. Maybe what he was doing was using the funds for his other business to pay for that a little bit, right? To help out with that one, and then using personal funds only for Sports Card Investor. Maybe he was doing that as a side business because he thought, hey, at least I have another business to go off of. Maybe he felt justified that he bought all these cards to promote his Sports Card Investor business in case his other business didn't work out. I mean, he's a smart businessman. Maybe that was his thought process. Who knows? It's something that's interesting to see. It's your one business, your main business supposedly is struggling, but yet you're spending millions on sports cards, which were being highly propped up at the time. We all know that none of those prices were going to be sustainable. At least most of us did that have been in the hobby for a while. Maybe he didn't know that. Maybe he thought that, things were continuing to go up forever. I mean, there was a big push for that narrative, and I get it. I think that Geoff has been in the card industry for a couple of years. I want to say maybe dating back to 2018 or earlier. Even around that time period, well, not all of us know this, but at least if you've been in a hobby for a little while, we all know that cards were going up at that time period as well. Maybe not as much as they were in 2020. That was just a weird circumstance. But if you've been around cards for 6, 8, 10 plus years, I've been back into cards for around 11 or 12. There was time periods where cards were not increasing in price. They were actually dropping. We'd get a little increase during the seasons. It was more stabilized. I just don't think he was around for that. So that could be justification for him thinking that this is just going to be the way it is. Cards explode exponentially. I don't really know. It just seems odd that he would be spending this amount of money. That's all I think anyone's saying here. It's unfortunate that we can't talk about it anymore because these threads are being locked. So I figured I'd get a little video out just explaining things. Again, I'm going to go and show you something here. I saved basically a bunch of the ones that South Park Cards had pointed out here on PPP loans. Again, you see a lot of these were approved in 2020. Okay. But interesting to just show them to you, just so we have them on record here. A lot of these companies took these out. Again, I think they're totally justified. The 2020 ones, totally justified. I do think that maybe some of these companies that made record profits should be paying these back. Because here's what ultimately happens with these loans, is us as taxpayers have to pay them back. It's not just free money that just goes out and there's no consequence for it. Taxpayers have to pay them back. So I think that's why a lot of us are questioning, hey, what's the deal with this? You made record profits, yet you took out all this money that you don't have to pay back. You can see that all these say forgiven. Now, again, I don't know if there's even an avenue to pay this stuff back, guys. I really don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out around here, but it does seem odd that, especially in sports cards where you had all this record sales and profits coming in, these wouldn't get paid back, or at least tried to, because us as taxpayers have to pay them back. So anyway, I'm going to get that video out and get your guys' thoughts on it. Please comment below, and I appreciate it. Thanks.